Good afternoon, class.
Good afternoon.
My name is Dr. Catherine Smith. I'll be your moderator for this class session. Welcome to the Institute of Divine Metaphysical Research. This is a school and not a church, and neither are we affiliated with any religious organization. This school is a non-profit, non-denominational, religious, and scientific research organization dedicated to showing proof of the existence of Yahweh, our Elohim, and the operation of His eternal purpose, pattern, and plan operating throughout eternity to this present day. This school was established as a result of a divine vision and revelation given to our founder, Dr. Henry Clifford Kinley, in the state of Ohio in the year 1931. We were incorporated in the state of California in the year 1958. Since that time, we have established branch schools throughout the United States and in various parts of the world. In this school, we use the true, correct, and original name and title of the Father, the Word, our Son, and the Holy Spirit as contained in the original Hebrew text. The true name of the Heavenly Father is Yahweh. This has been improperly substituted with Lord. The true title of the Word, our Son, is Elohim. This has been improperly substituted with God. The name of the Holy Spirit manifested in or out of a physical body is Yahshua. This has been erroneously substituted with Jesus Christ. Lord and God are titles and not names. The Apostle Paul, filled with the Holy Spirit, tells us in 1 Corinthians 8 and 5 that there are Lords many and Gods many. But we now know that each Lord must have a name and each God must have a name also. Elohim is a title, but unlike Lord and God, Elohim is a divine title. This means that Elohim is the title that our Creator chose for Himself. Jesus is a name, but it is an erroneous name. A minor investigation on your part in a good dictionary or encyclopedia would prove that neither the Hebrew language, the Greek language, nor the Latin language have any characters or letters in their alphabet that will produce the sound that's made by this letter J. Neither was there a letter J in the English language until some 1600 years after the Messiah's death. Therefore, such names as Jesus and Jehovah are impossible renderings of the true and original name of our Father and His Son. Christ is a title just like Lord and God. Yahweh is pure spirit, and in this state He is incomprehensible and inscrutable. He is the ultimate source, substance, limits, and bounds of everything. We have Yahweh in His pure spirit state symbolized on this chart as a cloud. Yahweh is not a cloud. He merely chose a cloud to symbolize Himself because a cloud has no particular or descriptive shape or form. We've drawn this cloud all around the edges of this chart to show you that everything on this chart is within the cloud. In like manner, everything in the universe abides within the pure spirit state of Yahweh. Yahweh, knowing that man could not perceive of Him in this pure spirit state, took on shape and took on form right within Himself as Yahweh Elohim. This is the Word or Son, a superincorporeal being, that is, having the shape and form of a man, but without flesh and blood. This form can only be seen in divine vision and understood in divine revelation. Later on, this self-same spirit manifests himself in a physical body and walked the earth plane as Yahshua the Messiah, whom the world calls Jesus Christ. Now, there's only one name given unto salvation, and we must know that name. So the simple yet intelligent question we should ask ourselves is, what was the name of the Savior during the time he walked the earth plane? A further understanding of this name and title may be had by reading the preface of the Holy Name Bible. Also in this school, we teach by divine pattern of the universe. It is called divine pattern because it is Yahweh's pattern. After Yahweh led the children of Israel up out of the land of Egypt, he called Moses atop Mount Sinai and showed him the tabernacle pattern in a vision. Yahweh instructed Moses to build one exactly like it in the wilderness of Sinai. This pattern consisted of a most holy place, and court round about. These three compartments making up the one tabernacle pattern. We go about in this school to show proof how that everything in the universe is made and operates according to the structure and the function of this threefold tabernacle pattern, and that absolutely nothing escapes the pattern. We have 10 primary aims or constitution objectives of the Institute, and they are as follows. First is to help you find and know Yahweh, our Elohim, as he really is and actually exists. Second, to form a nucleus of universal brotherhood of humanity in Yahshua the Messiah without distinction of race, nationality, creed, sect, caste, or color. Third, to investigate the unexplained spirit law, or so-called law of nature, and the powers latent in man. Fourth, to encourage and promote the study of the scriptures, comparative religion, psychology, philosophy, both modern, practical, and occult science. Fifth, to extirpate current superstitions, skepticism, and ignorance. Sixth, to learn, know, and understand the operation of Yahweh's eternal purpose through the dispensations and ages. Seventh, to discern and avoid being deceived by Lucifer, the serpent, the devil, the dragon, or Satan and his demons operating in the mystery of iniquity on earth through the dispensation of time. Eighth is to earnestly contend for the common salvation and faith, which was once delivered unto the sons or children of Yahweh. Ninth is to make known that Yahweh from the beginning ordained there is none other name under heaven given among men whereby man can be saved, saving in the name of Yahshua the Messiah. 10th, to inherit eternal life now in the kingdom of Yahshua the Messiah with the hope of immortal glorification in the new earth state. Our watchword is peace. Slogan, speak the truth. We have prayer by Dr. Daphne Thomas. Our scripture lesson is Revelations, the 17th chapter, read by Sister Jessica Forsythe.
Good evening, class.
Good
Let's
evening.
bow our hearts and minds in prayer to Yahweh. Yahweh, thank you for giving us this awesome opportunity to gather in your name and to hear from our visiting brethren. It's such a blessing to have them among us and to know that the gospel is alive and well in bodies and is being preached and without shame and without hesitation. Yahweh, please let us hear you and your Son to be growing in us continually, that we may be blessed by the gospel through Yahshua the Messiah. Through all these things we ask in Yahshua's name. Let us all say, Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
I'm reading out of the Holy Name Bible, containing the Holy Name version of the Old and New Testaments, critically compared with ancient authorities and various manuscripts, revised by A.B. Trena, the Scripture Research Association, Incorporated. Revelation chapter 17. And there came one of the 7 angels which had 7 veils, and talked with me, saying unto me, Come hither, I will show unto thee the judgment of the great whore that sitteth upon many waters, with whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication, and the inhabitants of the earth have been made drunk with the wine of her fornication. So he carried me away in the spirit into the wilderness, and I saw a woman sit upon a scarlet-colored beast, full of names of blasphemy, having 7 heads and 10 horns. And the woman was arrayed in purple and scarlet color, and decked with gold and precious stones and pearls, having a golden cup in her hand full of abominations and filthiness of her fornication. And upon her forehead was a name written, Mystery Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots and abominations of the earth. And I saw the woman drunken with the blood of the sons, and with the blood of the martyrs of Joshua. And when I saw her, I wondered with great astonishment. And the angel said unto me, Wherefore art thou astonished? I will tell thee the mystery of the woman, and of the beast that carrieth her, which hath the 7 heads and 10 horns. The beast that thou sawest was, and is not, and shall ascend out of the abyss, and go into perdition. And they that dwell on the earth shall wonder, whose names were not written in the book of life from the foundation of the world, when they behold the beast that was, and is not, and yet is. And here is the mind which hath wisdom. The 7 heads are 7 mountains on which the woman sitteth. And there are 7 kingdoms, 5 are fallen, and 1 is, and the other is not yet come. And when it cometh, it must continue a short space. And the beast that was, and is not, even he is the 8th head, and is of the 7, and goeth into perdition. And the 10 horns which thou sawest are 10 kings, which have received no kingdom as yet, but receive power as kings 1 hour with the beast. These have 1 mind, and shall give their power and strength unto the beast. These shall make war with the Lamb, and the Lamb shall overcome them. For he is the mighty ruler of kings, and they that are with him are called, and chosen, and faithful. And he saith unto me, The waters which thou sawest, where the whore sitteth, are peoples, and multitudes, and nations, and tongues. And the 10 horns which thou sittest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh, and burn her with fire. For Yahweh hath put in their hearts to fulfill his will, and to agree, and give their kingdom unto the beast, until the words of Yahweh shall be fulfilled. And the woman which thou sawest is that great city, which reigneth over the kings of the earth. I have read the entire 17th chapter in the book of Revelations. Let the body say hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
I don't know what happened there. Made it through all them words.
At this time, I would like to present our guests for this afternoon, visiting guests. We have a returning guest also that's been coming to class with us, Sister Monique Golden. We have all the way from Ontario, California. And pronounce it if I miss, Dr. Kinue Kleinschmidt and Dr. Will Williams. Let's give them applause. And we're so thankful that Yahshua saw fit, to have them to come to us. And our first speaker will be Dr. Kleinschmidt.
Good evening, class.
Good
evening.
I'm going to give a short testimony on, I don't know if I can do this, on how I get in, what brought me into class. I was a Roman Catholic, and I went all the time, Holy Mass and confession and all that. And then came along this Pope, Pope Paul, and I didn't like him. And then I thought, why do I have to pray through someone? Why can't I go directly to God? And then circumstances happened, which I find out now was Yahweh's plan for me. Now, I was working in the VA as a therapist in the closed ward where you're locked in with the patients all day because they had a history of, these are veterans, they had a history of assaultive behavior. So we were locked in. Of course, we had keys so we can get out. So one day, Will Williams comes working on the same ward. And I happened to start talking with him, and we had a common interest in these short TV dramas they had about these ninjas that protected the shogun. And I was fascinated and found out he had some videos of them. So I asked to borrow them. Now, then I returned them, and we were sitting there talking. And for some reason, as a Catholic, you never read the Bible, you never read anything. The priest says something, he went to seminary, so he should know, okay? So, all of a sudden, I have no idea why at that time, but I'm talking about the wedding in Cana, like I knew something, and so it's like I had no idea what he knew or about the Bible and everything, or all the people in class. So he says to me, "Do you know the name Yahweh?" I said, "Yes." But I said, "He knows who I mean. I don't have, it doesn't matter." So he says, "Okay, I'll call you Jenny." Now that really got my attention because my brother had an assistant called Jenny. And she broke up with her boyfriend, and as he was leaving, she shot him dead. So that really got my attention. So he gave me this pamphlet that explains the vision of John and Moses and how they're alike. But Yahweh told John, don't say it the same because it's already been written. So I didn't understand the combinations, and I'd ask in class and all that, but in order to understand things, you have to know the scripture and some more information. Otherwise, nothing makes any sense. I read the textbook, but I really didn't understand it. The only thing I really understood was that everything is in threes except for the hydrogen atom, which stands for Yahweh. So that kind of made sense. So then he invited me to class, and I said, don't I have to have, like some kind of prerequisite in order to prepare? Well, actually, I needed a lot. Because in order to understand anything, you have to know some of the scriptures at least. All I knew was that Moses went up there, and John, I didn't know about him. And then Dr. Kinley. And now I find out that he wrote the first 5 books of the Bible, and all about the creation. And John wrote in Revelations, and the things, I still don't understand a lot of it because of the symbolism. But they were all here to teach us. Moses about the creation and all that, and John the other things, and then Dr. Kinley through the charts. So they all had different ways, but they were trained to teach us in different ways. So I started going to class, and the first class, they went over Moses. The next class, they went over Moses again. And the third class, Moses.
Yes.
So in our class, we can ask questions, and I said, "Is that all you talk about?" I mean, I look back now, and I was so ignorant, and I'm still, pretty ignorant. In order to understand things, you have to know a little bit. So then I found out through Moses about the names. Exodus 3:13.
Exodus 3:13. And Moses said unto Elohim, Behold, when I come unto the children of Israel, and shall say unto them.
Okay, I'll read it from the King James first.
Okay. Exodus. Gotcha.
Exodus
And Moses said unto God, Behold, when I come unto the children of Israel and say unto them, The God of your fathers hath sent me unto you, and they shall say to me, What is his name? What shall I say unto them?
Okay, so they called him at that time El Shaddai, Almighty Provider. Or if it was God, why would he say, What is your name? And he said, I am what I am, which is, you think of Popeye. I am what I am, it's nothing. It doesn't mean anything. Read from the holy name now.
3:13, Exodus. And Moses said unto Elohim, Behold, when I come unto the children of Israel, and shall say unto them, The Elohim of your fathers has sent me unto you, and they shall say to me, What is his name? What shall I say unto them? And Elohim said unto Moses, Ayah, Asher, Ayah. And he said, Thus shalt thou say unto the children of Israel, I will be hath sent me unto you. And Elohim said moreover unto Moses, Thus shalt thou say unto the children of Israel, Yahweh, the Elohim of your fathers, the Elohim of Abraham, the Elohim of Isaac, and the Elohim of Jacob, hath sent me unto you. This is my name forever, and this is my memorial unto all generations.
So forever, everybody knows what forever is.
Absolutely.
And so they talk about how the Bible doesn't really explain things very well. One place they're saying you didn't see God, and others you do see God. But if you use the proper names, it starts to make sense. So this is another reason you have to study the Bible. So the more I learned about the tabernacle pattern. What is it? Genesis 28 and 5, is it, or 5?
Exodus 25, 8 and 9.
Or he tells them to build a tabernacle.
Exodus 25.
25 and 8. 8, 9.
Exodus 25 and 8. And let them make me a sanctuary, that I may dwell among them, according to all that I show thee, after the pattern of the tabernacle, and the pattern of all the instruments thereof, even so shall ye make it.
So you find out now about the tabernacle pattern, and as I've been in class, I learned that even my spiritual journey has followed this pattern. The first step is the gate, and then I entered into this teaching. And then the altar, number 2, the altar of sin and sacrifice. I had to put all of my concepts and things I learned in Catholicism and burn them. Then the washing of generation. And then I'm anointed to the 4th veil here, into the holy place. It's bread, light, intercessor. The 12 loaves of bread. And Matthew 4, is it? About what Yahshua said about bread.
On the bread. Matthew 4 and 3. And when the tempter came to him, he said, If thou be the Son of Yahweh, command that these stones be made bread. And he answered and said, It is written, Man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceedeth out of the mouth of Yahweh.
Okay, so there's a lot of allegories in the Bible, which I didn't understand. But this, bread, is the word that comes out of the mouth of Yahshua.
Okay.
So therefore, I learned from here. And then, this is the 7-branch lampstand for light. Read John 1 and 4.
John 1 and 4. In him was life, and the life was the light of men.
Read.
And the light shineth in darkness, and the darkness comprehended it not.
Okay, that was my brain. I came into class, I was what you call dead. And you find out that dead is not dead like your vessel is dead. It's more like you're spiritually dead until you're enlightened. And it's like the first aim. Read the first aim.
To
to help you find and know Yahweh, our Elohim, as He really is and actually exists.
So I'm learning, this is how He really is and actually exists. And in each one of everything fits that. Bloodline, spirit line, bloodline, water line, spirit line. And we're told now that we don't need to study that. But this is how you know who Yahweh is. Because everything breaks down. If there isn't a supreme being, why is everything exactly the same? Or seed bearing seed after its own kind? So as I became more enlightened, Yahshua led me past the sixth step to the most holy place of the seventh step, where He's on the mercy seat. And the more I learn that I don't know. I mean, you feel like you get more stupid. Like in high school, you know everything, right? Every year, you get dumber because you know that you don't know.
Yeah, exactly.
But I am so grateful, and I find out now that I didn't. This I thought was all kind of going by circumstances. I met him. He invited me to class. You have to have an invitation to come into this teaching. Your name has to be in the book of life. And I thought, well, how do you know? I mean, why is my name there? You know, Yahweh chose it. And as I tried to agonize about things, I was told, don't agonize. Just read and study, and Yahweh will reveal it to you when you're ready. And I found out these things are so true. All these things happen because Yahweh planned it. And I never thought of it that way before. But I'm so glad that did happen. And I'm glad to see you all. I'm glad to be here. And I'm glad to be around people who are still teaching the truth the way Dr. Kinley taught it. Thank you.
Hallelujah.
Our next speaker will be Dr. Will Williams.
Good evening, class.
Good evening.
It is indeed a honor and a pleasure to be here. Fellowship with the brethren here in Memphis is always great. And to learn more about this great, awesome panoramic vision that has been bequeathed to us by Yahweh our Elohim through our founder, Henry Clifford Kinley. I was asked to give some choices on what might could be gone into, so I picked one, but actually I could probably put them all three together if I could, but I'll try and focus on this one right here. This is called the Daniel chart, or the old folks used to call it the map. And it's when you study it, when Dr. Kinley made 7 charts, and this was the 7th chart that he made, the last chart that he made, he and his co-founder, Dr. Carlette Gross. And the name of this chart, well, we call it the Daniel chart or a map chart. That's what the old folks call it, but we call it the Daniel chart because you see this man superimposed here. This is in the book of Daniel. This is Nebuchadnezzar's dream that he interpreted in the rock here. And so what Dr. Kinley did was he took this and imposed it on this map. And this light colored area, if you ever research it, what it is, it's a map of the old Roman Empire. And see, and then you put these 2 plates on here, the Adamic transgression plate, and also the death, burial, resurrection, and ascension of Yahshua Messiah plate. And you put them on here, and this plate reads like Hebrew, because Hebrew is read from right to left. So you have to start here. The name of this plate is called Proving the Existence and Destruction of Satan and his demons through the dispensations and ages. Now, before we want to get here to the degeneration of First Adam, first we have to, I like to try it like this. I've said it, but I really learned it really hard in this past summer school while I was in school about writing essays. Boy, if I never see an essay again. But a basic essay is a 3-fold entity. There's an introduction, there's a body, and then there's a conclusion. Okay? And when you stop and think about it, our class really is an essay. It's an essay or an epistle that we give to anybody who comes in here. Because see, it's threefold. Our class is divided up. First, we have a moderation, which is our introduction. And then we have the lectures, which is the body. And then we have a doxology, which is our conclusion. And so therefore, by the end of class, we have written a verbal letter. See, and with modern technology now, we can record it and transmit it out and send it to whoever, okay? Now, I'm going to try to give an introduction to this topic here, what I want to do, because I do want to go through this chart. And my first introduction is simply this, John 4:24.
Yahweh is spirit, and they that worship him must worship him in spirit and in truth.
Now Yahweh is spirit, and you have him depicted here as a cloud. And moderator stated he's not a cloud, but a cloud is something physical we can look at to kind of give you a visualization of what spirit is. Because spirit is inscrutable, is indescribable, it's abstract. Our founder had a very good saying to describe this. He said, the human mind cannot conceive what it cannot perceive. Since you cannot perceive this pure spirit state of existence, then you cannot conceive anything about it. Nothing. Not a molecule. Nothing. Therefore, it behooved Yahweh to transmute in part into this shape and form, which we know as Elohim, or more perfectly, Yahweh Elohim, who is the archetype or the original pattern of the universe. It didn't take all of pure spirit to transmute into this state. See? And when this happened, Yahweh, pure spirit, went out of business, or he went back into his rest. He was in his rest before this happened, and then after this event, he went back into his rest, because this is the creation. See, this shape and form created everything. It's really the first cause of all creation. Also, Yahweh, pure spirit, coming into an incorporeal state or into shape and form is a condescension from this pure spirit state into this. So if that be the case, then this would constitute a death. See? Okay. This is a death. And in fact, this is the lamb slain before the foundation of the world, or before anything else for that matter, the universe.
Right.
See, in other words, Yahweh foreknew what the man was going to do up here. Therefore, his salvation was already mapped out before he was even created. Okay? See, this is the lamb slain before the foundation of the world. Now, when she alluded to it about the hydrogen atom. Maybe I should read this. Isaiah 66:1.
Isaiah 66:1. Thus saith Yahweh, the heaven is my throne, and the earth is my footstool. Where is the house that ye build unto me? And where is the place of my rest?
Now, heaven is my throne and the earth is my footstool. Now, then we should go back for a minute. Exodus 24:9-10.
Exodus 24:9. Then went up Moses and Aaron, Nadab, and Abihu, and 70 of the elders of Israel. And they saw the Elohim of Israel, and there was under his feet as it were a paved work of a sapphire stone.
Okay, now see, Isaiah is confirming. In fact, Isaiah is drawing out from what Moses wrote. That's why Isaiah wrote that in the first place, because Moses wrote this.
Okay.
All right? Read.
And as it were the body of heaven in its clearness. And upon the nobles of the children of Israel he laid not his hand. Also they saw Elohim and did eat and drink.
Okay. So now here's Elohim standing on the paved work of a sapphire stone. Okay. And as the first speaker talked about, she mentioned the hydrogen atom. And see, we talk about a tabernacle pattern. All right. The tabernacle pattern. See, there's a most holy place, a holy place, and a court round about. 3 different parts, but one tabernacle. and we take the regular atom, which is a proton, a neutron, and an electron. 3 different parts, but one atom. Okay? Now, there are 92 natural elements in nature, and 91 of these elements are threefold: proton, neutron, electron. The exception is hydrogen. Hydrogen is a twofold element. It simply has a proton and an electron. Okay? However, the way our founder explains it, it is an example of what Yahweh is, or it is a physical depiction of spirit law. How so? See, you have Elohim here, as we had read. He's standing on the paved work of a sapphire stone. He himself would represent the proton in this case. The paved work of a sapphire stone would represent the electron. Okay. Now, come back over here. See this heart here. This heart and this shape and form are one and the same. Okay. They are synonymous. So just juxtaposition this shape and form on standing on this paved work of a sapphire stone over here. Then you would see that it is immersed in the midst of the invisible third part. Okay. See, which is spirit law. Okay. A better illustration would be this. Here you have the angelic creation and you have the physical creation. In this analogy with the hydrogen atom, the angelic creation would represent the proton. The physical creation would represent the electron, both of which are immersed within the cloud symbolizing eternity, or within the invisible third part, which is spirit law. Okay. Okay? That's what that be representing. All right. Now, Elohim, when he's coming forth, see, now according to Moses' vision, it's drawn out. The angelic creation is created first. And see, and the reason why we know this, because when Elohim is coming forth, he himself is a thoroughly furnished tabernacle. Mm-hmm. That means this. All the furnishings are in here. These veils are in here, and there are angels embroidered on the veils. Right. The angels embroidered on the veil represents the angelic creation. Mm-hmm. Okay? And then that's the angelic creation, and that was created first, and then the earth, because we have the earth here, depicted here. And if you notice, we have some writing. It says 4,000 BBYM, or before the birth of Yahshua the Messiah, is 1490 BBYM, or before the birth of Yahshua the Messiah. 4,000 BBY is 1490 BBY. The reason why this is there is trying to show you correlatively that the same conditions that was happening down in Egypt when Moses and Aaron withstood Pharaoh and Yahweh poured out 10 devastating plagues, the whole land of Egypt became chaotic. Yes. Come over here. This is how the earth came in. See, look, up here, Yahweh is pure spirit, and we told you he's abstract, inscrutable, incomprehensible. Okay? And then, or I'll use this term, it appears to be inorganic. Okay. Then these attributes organized into a set state, and an Elohim came forth. Organized out of inorganic. That has to be reflected here, with the earth sticking in and out of the water. The founder called this an amalgamated conglomeration of occurring mass. That is to say this. It was if you looked at it, you wouldn't be able to recognize anything. Yet, the moon, the stars, the planets, the galaxies, the plants, the animals, you, me, it's all there, but you don't recognize it as such until it's organized, or it is drawn out and organized into something we can recognize. Light, dark, waters, air, sky, sun, moon, stars, animals, the man. But that's all in here. Right. See, this is a physical, something we can look at to understand something up here in this process. Okay? Now, the angelic creation was created first. I want Revelations, the 12th chapter.
Revelations 12:1.
Uh-huh.
And the temple of Yahweh was opened in heaven, and there was seen in his temple the ark of his covenant. And there were lightnings and voices and thunderings and an earthquake and great hail. And there appeared a great wonder in heaven, a woman clothed with the sun, and the moon under her feet, and upon her head a crown of 12 stars. And she, being with child, cried, travailing in birth, and pain to be delivered. And there appeared another wonder in heaven, and behold, a great red dragon, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and 7 crowns upon his head. And his tail drew the third part of the stars of heaven.
Okay, so now, there appeared a great red dragon in heaven. Okay, 7 heads. That's it, yes, 7 heads, 10. Let's read that again. I'm messing it up.
Revelations 12:4.
Uh-huh.
And there appeared another wonder in heaven. And behold, a great red dragon, having 7 heads,
7 heads,
and 10 horns,
10 horns,
and 7 crowns,
7 crowns. All right.
upon his head. And his tail drew the third part of the stars of heaven.
All right, and his tail drew a third part of the stars of heaven. Now, the T-A-L, no, that's how that's spelled, right?
T-A-I-L.
Right, but see, it's really more closer to T-A-L-E. Because the tail that he told, that drew those 1/3 stars, and see, stars are a type of angels. They're a type of the angels. All right, the stars in the sky, that's what they point to. They point to angels, and he drew a third part of them. I think it's John 8:44.
John 8:44. Ye are of your father the adversary, and the lust of your father ye will do. He was a murderer from the beginning, and abode not in the truth.
And abode not in the truth. In other words, he was a liar.
Right.
Read.
Because there is no truth in him.
All right, so he was a liar and a murderer from the beginning. All right?
When he speaketh a lie, he speaketh of his own, for he is a liar and the father of it.
He's father of it. Okay, now, Isaiah 14:12. You know, we just want to get these things together here, and then we can. We're just making an introduction, see, to the subject. See, the subject is the Daniel chart, but to get to that chart, I have to. This is what Dr. Kinley used to say. He said, "Now look, you might read in the Bible, you know, you read about a subject, but before you get to the subject, you have to go way back and find the predicate.
Right.
That leads to the subject. See, the subject might be right down here, and the predicate way up yonder somewhere. So you have to go back and get it, and bring it down and match it with the subject. So that's what I'm trying to do here. See, I'm trying to align my predicates up.
14.
All right, Doc.
How art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning?
See how art thou fallen. See, now, keep going.
How art thou cut down to the ground, which didst weaken the nation? For thou hast said in thine heart, I will ascend into heaven. I will exalt my throne above the stars of air.
I said, I will exalt my throne. And see, look, here's the tabernacle pattern. We have the Ark of the Covenant here. That represents the throne of Yahweh. Here we have angels on this veil. That represents the stars. See, the stars, rather the stars represent them. See, so when he's talking about he's going to ascend above the stars, and he's going to ascend above the angels. He was already that in the first place, but see, he's saying, well, I'm going to be really above everything. But read.
I will sit also upon the mount of the congregation in the sides of the north.
In the sides of the north, see? And a lot of people say, well, what is he talking about? Are the Russians coming? You know, because they're the ones that, because see, they're the ones in the north country.
Right.
See, that's not what it's talking about. See, he's talking about, and see, he's talking about the tabernacle. See, on the tabernacle, see, you had these tribes on all sides, okay? And on each side they had a banner, all right?
Yeah.
On the north side of the tabernacle was the tribe of Dan. That had the banner. That was located on the north side. See, Dan, the word Dan means to judge. Boy. Finish reading that a little bit now, and then I want to jump to something so I can show what I'm talking about.
I will ascend above the heights of the clouds.
Uh-huh.
I will be like the Most High.
And see, now the cloud that sat on the mercy seat here, and he said, I'm going to ascend above that. Okay? But then he said he's going to dwell in the sides of the north. Now, the Bible, let me say something about the Bible. Because people and their grandmother have, everybody has an interpretation of what the Bible means. That's why we have so many of them. So many different versions of the Bible. See, written in different languages. And everybody, and look, it's the world's most bestseller for the last 500 years. You know, I mean, you don't even, like when they have the New York Times bestsellers, you don't see the Bible on there. It's just academic. You just don't, you just don't. I mean, what are you going to say about a book that's been like, there's like 300 to 400 different versions of it. It's been translated into over 2,000 languages. What are you going to say about a book like that? And that, I mean, wow, what a great book. But here's another distinction that it has. It is the least understood book on the planet. And like I said, everybody has an opinion about it. In this country, you can create a religion based upon your opinion of the Bible and get tax exempt status. See? That's why we talk about an archetype pattern of the universe, because see, this is the true author of the Bible. See, it's just like from a natural standpoint, somebody like the movie The Godfather, which is a great movie to me. It's probably one of the best cinematic movies ever made, even though it's about a gangster family. But it's based off a book, which I happen to have read the book. It's by Mario Puzo. Okay, now if you really want to know something about why he wrote the book and all like that, you can read it and make your own summation, surmising or whatever. But it's usually better to say, excuse me, Mr. Puzo, why did you write this book? I mean, what is this about? Just ask the author. That would be the best way. Well, that's what we're doing when it comes to the Bible. We are consulting the author of the Bible about what is, explain this to us. That's what we're doing, okay? Now, I had that read, get Revelations. It's the 20th chapter, but it's somewhere down, maybe around it could be the 7th or the 8th verse. See, because it said I would dwell in the sides of the north, and I want to try to show that. Before you read that, somebody else get Isaiah 8 and 20, since we was right back there. Just to
Isaiah 8 and 20.
Uh-huh.
To the law and to the testimony. If they speak not according to this word, it is because there is no light in them.
Now, to the law and to the testimony. Now look, the law is the first 5 books of the Bible. Moses wrote that. Our founder used to say this. Somebody came to the founder one day, I'll put it like this, and they said to him, "As a sir, I understand Moses. That's what this person was trying to say. I understand Moses. I understand Moses, but I don't understand John. Book of Revelations. I don't understand that." And Dr. Kennedy simply told him, I said, well, you just freely admitted you don't understand the Bible. Because to understand the book of Revelations, you have to understand what Moses wrote. See? If you don't understand what John is writing, then you really don't understand what Moses wrote. And if you don't understand what Moses wrote, then you really don't understand the whole Bible. Because the prophecy or the testimony is drawn out from what Moses wrote. See? John is confirming it. See? So you have to understand what Moses and the prophets wrote to understand what's in the book of Revelation. See, most people, when they read the book of Revelation, think it's about something that's going to happen in the future. Not realizing that 99% of it has already been fulfilled.
Right.
Because they don't and the reason why they don't understand that is because they really don't understand Moses or the law and the prophets. And that Yahshua is the fulfillment of that, and that John out here on the Isle of Patmos is confirming what Moses and the prophets wrote. I mean, if John is confirming Moses, then he's confirming the prophets too, because what the prophets is saying is drawn out from what Moses wrote.
Exactly.
Okay? Now, Revelations 20 and 7.
And when the 1,000 years are expired, Satan shall be loosed out of his prison, and shall go out to deceive the nations which are in the four quarters of the earth, Gog and Magog, to gather them together to battle, the number of whom is as the sand of the sea.
Okay, now why is John writing that? Because he's confirming what we read in Isaiah. We read in Isaiah where he said, I will dwell in the sides of the north.
Right.
So now here's John confirming that, Gog and Magog. I said, well, wait a minute, how is he doing that? Well, you got to do your little research. Gog means leader. Magog means people of the north.
Okay.
And they said, well, what north people are you talking about? You talking about the Russians over here? They're the north. That's not what he's talking about. We have a pattern. See, as we said, you go to the north side of the pattern, that's where Dan was. Tribe of Dan with the banner. And we said Dan means the judge. So why is he saying I'm going to dwell in the sides of the north? What he's really saying is I'm going to dwell in the judgment seat. I'm going to dwell in the judgment seat and judge over all of y'all. That's what's happening here. That's what the governments of the world are.
Yeah.
See? All right, now we're in Revelations. Go back to where you left off in the 12th chapter.
Okay. 12 and 6. No, let's go back to 5. And his tail drew the third part of the stars of heaven, and did cast them to the earth. And the dragon stood before the woman, which was ready to be delivered, for to devour her child as soon as it was born.
Now see, in other words, let's see. Yeah, I got the chart here. Close enough. This is plate 14. Here's Satan cast out. Keep reading. He cast out here. And see now, as we told you, this is the woman. Because see, this is the unformed earth. And here is that dragon. He's the dragon. He's waiting for this creation to come. I'm waiting for the woman to birth her child. He's just waiting after being cast out here. Keep reading.
6. And she brought forth a man-child, who was to rule all nations with a rod of iron. And her child was caught up unto Yahweh and to his throne. And the woman fled into the wilderness, where she hath a place prepared of Yahweh, that they should feed her there 1,260 days. And there was war in heaven.
And there was war in heaven. Read.
Michael and his angels fought against the dragon. And the dragon fought and his angels, and prevailed not. Neither was their place found any more in heaven.
See, there's this transgression here, and we'll get that in a minute, but read.
And the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent, called the devil and Satan, which deceiveth the whole world. He was cast out into the earth, and his angels were cast out with him. And I heard a loud voice saying in heaven, now is come salvation and strength and the kingdom of our Eloah and the power of his Messiah.
Right.
For the accuser of our brethren is cast down, which accused them before our Eloah day and night. And they overcame him by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of their testimony. And they loved not their lives unto the death.
Okay. Now, there was war in heaven. And seeing Satan was cast out. Why was there a war? Let's get Ezekiel 28 and 12. See, why was there a war? Yeah, people don't think, I'm going to go to heaven. I said, well, did you know there was a war up there?
Ezekiel 28 and 12. Son of man, take up a lamentation upon the king of Tyrus, and say unto him, thus saith Yahweh, thou sealest up the sum, full of wisdom, and perfect in beauty.
Full of wisdom and perfect in beauty. Read.
Thou hast been in Eden, the garden of Elohim.
Thou hast been in Eden, the garden of Elohim. Read.
Every precious stone was thy covering.
Every precious stone was thy covering. What are you talking about? Look, he's created in the image and likeness of Elohim just like everything else is. And he has all the attributes. See this right here? He has all the attributes here. All these attributes, see, all these attributes here, and including love. I used to have great arguments with certain folks about that. Satan ain't got no love. Yes, he does. Joshua said that, because Joshua said this: the world loves its own. Joshua said that. So yeah, he loves his own. He may not love you, but he does love his own. You know. Okay. And he has a kingdom, because see, we have these attributes. See, these attributes here are immersed in the kingdom. Satan has a kingdom as well. In fact, the war came about because he created a kingdom in heaven. Had his own. Keep reading.
28 and 13, Ezekiel. Thou hast been in Eden, the garden of Elohim. Every precious stone was thy covering. The sardius, the topaz, and the diamond, the beryl, the onyx, and the jasper, the sapphire, the emerald, and the carbuncle, and gold.
That's 10, just like there are 10 attributes here. 9 attributes immersed in the 10th attribute, which is the kingdom. Why? Because just like your physical body, you have 9 systems. That corresponds with the 9 vessels here. Your 9 systems are immersed in the 10th system of the body. That's called the integumentary system, which is your skin. Like, see, it's the same thing. Here's the Zoroastrian. This is the attributes taking on shape and form. These 9 attributes taking on shape and form encounced in the 10th attribute, the kingdom. This is the kingdom. Alright, keep reading.
The workmanship of thy tabrets and of thy pipes was prepared in the day that thou wast.
See, he's a great musician. That's tabrets, that's like a tambourine. You know? He's a musical instrument, pipes, he could, whatever you want. He can sing, he can talk, he can rap, he can spit poetry, whatever you know. He do all of that. See, and he was smooth about it. See, read.
Thou art the anointed cherub that covereth.
He was the anointed cherub that covered. See here, he's on the veil. This veil covered the most holy place. Read.
And I have set thee so.
Yahweh set him up that way, so it was no accident. See, this was not Frankenstein's monster gone awry, rebelling. His creator didn't know he was going to rebel against him. See. But Yahweh planned it this way. Yahweh set him up that way. See, Satan is not a liability in the purpose of Yahweh. In fact, he is an asset. He's not an adversary to Yahweh. Why? Yahweh created him. How can he be an adversary? He created him. He could destroy him. Just as easy as he created him, it's just as easy he could destroy him. And look, Yahweh runs the show with him. Satan operates by universal spirit law too. Means that Elohim controls him. He gives him his orders and says, okay, got you, boss, I'm on it. He's doing his thing. And he's worthy at it too. He's very good at it. Now he's our adversary, and he can cause us some liabilities. But he's not a liability in the purpose of Yahweh. In fact, he's an asset. So much so, and then some people may not like this, so much so that Yahweh said, boy, you did such a good job this week. Well, why don't you come in next week? I got some work for you. I got some more work for you. That's how good he is. See? Keep reading.
14. Thou art the anointed cherub that covereth, and I have set thee so. Thou wast upon the holy mountain of Elohim. Thou hast walked up and down in the midst of the stones of fire.
Which are the angels, the stones of fire. Read.
Thou wast perfect in thy ways from the day that thou wast created, till iniquity was found in thee.
See, he was a time bomb. See, he was created to be like that, and he was perfect doing his thing, just like like everybody else. I mean, in fact, he was leading the choir. He was like, all praise the Elohim, all praise. Y'all better keep up here. Y'all making me look bad. See, perfect in his ways, doing until iniquity was found in him. Keep reading.
By the multitude of thy merchandise.
The merchandise. What merchandise is that? His lies. I sell you a lie, you buy it. And he was a liar and a murderer from the beginning. What do you mean? The first lie he told was standing up in front of them angels and said, oh, excuse me, because he thought, because of his brightness and beauty, he looked around and said, well, you know something? Ain't nobody up here as beautiful as I am. Nobody up here as wise as I am. Well, I must be it. Angelic creation, your salvation has arrived. And 1/3 of an innumerable host crossed over and followed him. Our founder wrote in the textbook, he said that when those angels did that, it was as if though they never existed. In other words, we read the scripture, he said he was a liar and a murderer from the beginning. Okay, he told a lie, and then when those 1/3 of the angels crossed over to him, he in a sense murdered them. Mm-hmm. And listen, we're talking about an innumerable, 1/3 of an innumerable host. We're talking about mass murder on a scale that's incomprehensible. A liar and a murderer from the very beginning. And then he's up in heaven, and now he's cast down here to the earth to do the same thing down here. Read.
By the multitude of thy merchandise they have filled the midst of thee with violence.
See, that was exhibited up here when he was incarnate with Cain, when he murdered his brother Abel. Right. See, that's a manifestation of that, and it continues on to this day. Read.
And thou hast sinned.
Uh-huh.
Therefore I will cast thee as profane out of the mountain of Elohim, and I will destroy thee, O covering cherub, from the midst of the stones of fire. Thine heart was lifted up because of thy beauty. Thou hast corrupted thy wisdom by reason of thy brightness. I will cast thee to the ground. I will lay thee before kings, that they may behold thee. Thou hast defiled thy sanctuaries by the multitude of thine iniquities, by the iniquity of thy traffic.
But thy traffic. Oh, what are we talking about? Traffic. See, we're talking about buying and selling. Traffic. Not this is intersection, but trafficking. See, he's in that. That's his thing. But I sell you a lie, you buy it. What lie? Lies comes in all forms. And if you have no way to discern it, you just say, well, it looks like a pretty good thing. I think I'll try it. How would you know? See, continue.
Therefore will I bring forth a fire from the midst of thee. It shall devour thee, and I will bring thee to ashes upon the earth in the sight of all them that behold thee. All they that know thee among the people shall be astonished at thee. Thou shalt be a terror, and never shalt thou be any more.
Okay. All right, that's our introduction. And see now he's cast down here to the earth. And now we find this fiend. It's almost like one of those cereals.
Yeah.
They find this fiend now appearing in the garden up here. See, coming up here, and he's approaching the woman. See, and the reason why he approached the woman. See, look here. I got it on the chart. I got the chart here. Here's the man. He's created on the 6th day. All right. Now, and the woman, here he is in his hermaphroditic state. Now, you don't see the devil approaching him. You don't see him coming up to him. Same here. Now, it's not until the woman is taken out of the man, all of a sudden, now here he comes at the end of 40 days. Now here he comes spying out their nakedness. Okay? And then over here he is. See when the woman was taken out of the man, Romans 8 and 20. See, she was fine. See, we read in Revelation that the woman was clothed in the sun. As long as she was clothed in the sun, she was fine. But then once she was taken out of the sun, or taken out of the man, we're going to read.
For the creation was made subject to vanity.
She was made subject to vanity. Here it is right here. She's taken out of the man, so now she's not subject to, but now she's made subject to vanity. Talking about this satanic spirit here. This angel, she's made subject to vanity. Read.
Not willingly.
Not willingly, because she didn't take herself out of the man Adam. Elohim did that. And when he did that, he knew full well what was going to happen. So she didn't do this willingly, see, read.
But by reason of him who had subjected the same in hope.
Now when the transgression happened, see, she became subject to Adam. In other words, she became subject to her hope. And when he was cast out, she followed her hope out of the garden. She followed him out. See, and it's no different here. When Satan was kicked out, see, he has a bride too. His bride or his wife, they followed him out. That's how I know that, because I can look at the natural to understand what's happening in the spirit. See, not calling Adam a devil, but just showing that Yahweh in his instructions uses repetition to try to get a point across. See, and so he's using the man up here to show forth what happened up here in the heavenlies. Okay, read.
Because the creation itself also shall be delivered from the bondage of corruption into the glorious liberty of the children of Yahweh. For we know that the whole creation groaneth and travaileth in pain together until now.
Just like, look, when the transgression happened, see, what was told to these folks? I'm just paraphrasing because I need to get to some points. Adam worked by the sweat of his brow. He was going to work. Okay. The woman was told that she would bear children in pain, but she was also told that she would be saved in childbearing. All right. The serpent was told that dust he would crawl upon, and dust he would eat all the days of his life, and that there would be enmity between his seed and her seed.
Right.
He shall bruise his head, and he, the head here, shall bruise his heel. Okay? So it has to be enmity. Okay. Now, is there anything else to that?
And not only they, but ourselves also, which have the first fruits of the Spirit, even we ourselves groan within ourselves, waiting for the adoption, to wit, the redemption of our body.
To be born again, so to speak. That's good enough. Now, all right, Satan is cast down here, and this enmity. All right, and here we got these folks having children now. Genesis 5 and 5. Well, start with 5 and 1.
This is the book of the generations of Adam. In the day that Elohim created man, in the likeness of Elohim made he him. Male and female created he them, and blessed them, and called their name Adam in the day when they were created.
He called their name Adam. When she was taken out of the man Adam called it Eve. But he called their name Adam. All right, read.
And Adam lived 130 years and begot a son in his own likeness after his image, and called his name Seth. And the days of Adam after he had begotten Seth was 800 years, and he begot sons and daughters.
All right. Now.
All the days that Adam lived were 930 years, and he died.
Thank you. All right. Now. Get Genesis 6 and 1.
And it came to pass, when men began to multiply on the face of the earth, and daughters were born unto them, that the sons of Elohim saw the daughters of men, that they were fair, and they took them wives of all which they chose. And Yahweh said, my spirit shall not always strive with man, for he is but flesh. Let his days be 120 years.
All right, now, when people read that, they think it says, and the sons of God or the sons of Elohim came in unto the daughters of men and they had children. And most Christians tend to interpret that as these angels come down.
Yeah.
And they, you know, they looked around and said, oh snap, you know, earth girls are easy, you know. You know? And you know, and they got the, I mean, seriously, you know, they like, and, I mean, you can only imagine how these folks was thinking, you know, like, oh, like some angel comes down and says, what's going on, girl? Wait, what's happening? You like my wings? Want to go for a spin? That's the kind of mentality they got with that.
Yeah. Not
realizing, see, Adam was Elohim. He was the son of Elohim. What was that? Luke 3 and 30. See, Luke 3 and 30, yeah.
Luke 3 and 30.
Yeah.
Which was?
Yeah.
Which was the son of Simeon, which was the son of Judah, which was the son of Joseph, which was the son of Jonan, which was the son of Eliakim, which was the son of Maliah.
Get down to the last verse.
38.
38, yeah, that's what I want. 38, I'm sorry.
Which was the son of Enos, which was the son of Seth, which was the son of Adam, which was the son of Elohim.
Which is the son of Elohim. And see, Adam was Elohim's body. See. Alright. So when we talk about the sons of Elohim, we're into the daughters of men, what it's talking about is this. Because we read, well, we didn't read it, but if you don't know, we can read it, that there was enmity between the woman's seed and the serpent's seed, or enmity between Cain's offspring and Seth's offspring. So these two folks are not going to they're not married. Because see, there's enmity. In other words, as far as Cain is concerned, he's trying to kill these folks. It's like Hatfields and McCoy, shoot off sight, So now these other sons, so Adam and Eve, look, Adam and Eve had children. A lot of people, don't understand that. But look, let me show you something. See, Adam and Eve, Eve was popping them out like you wouldn't believe, twins and triplets. See, because people will ask this question, because you'll read in the 4th chapter of Genesis, and Cain and his wife went out into the land of Nod. Who was his wife? Where did she come from? That was his sister. See, he married that was his sister. See. See, because they were, the story focuses on Seth and on Cain and Abel. But there were other people there, because if you remember, after Cain killed Abel, and he was approached about it, he said, "But they'll seek my life." Right. Well, if it's just him, there's some other people there, his other brothers. Because you killed my brother. Why'd you kill our brother? And so they'll seek it, and they'll seek my life. And so a mark was put on it. And see, and we got it right here. See, we got. Got Cain killing Abel. See, he went to the sheepcote, went to the gate, the sheepcote gate where Abel was at, and Abel just let him do it, because that was the crook that he killed him with, was his shepherd's crook that Cain used. Abel's shepherd crook took it and killed him, and his conscience immersed in wickedness. And so now, here he goes wandering. Here's his wife. The 40 principle on here, she's 40 weeks pregnant. She's ready to have a son. And then she did. And now look here, because you see them looking kind of shabby here. But see, he changed occupations. He went from an agriculturalist to being an architect. And see, and he built his own city here without divine specifications or divine instructions. Right. And see, now look here. Now here him and his wife and son, they're looking a little more prosperous now. Yeah. And look. For him to build a city, he couldn't have did it by himself. Nope. Right. He had to have help. Look, Oh, okay. I'm fine for that. Okay. Because it would seem like it would take. If I'd have known that, I would have did it first. But yeah, you gotta have some adherence to help, you know, I mean, some people to follow, you know, who's gonna follow you, because see, look, this is the holy place. See, in the holy place, see this tabernacle pattern, that's why these charts are like that. You're taking the principles of this pattern, and you're gonna apply it to all these different stories, see, according to the pattern, to see the operation of spirit law in operation. Just like here. See, here's Cain and his wife here. See, that's in the holy place. See, the first speaker went through it about the light, the bread, and the intercessor. Well, that's exactly what happened here. He told them people he was the light. And the words that Cain spoke, see, the people ate that up. And Cain said, see this mark on here? Hey, Elohim put that mark on here. You know, I'm in good with him. You want to talk to Elohim? Talk to me. He said he was their intercessor. And they believed it. It's no different than what we talked about with Lucifer up here. He was a liar and a murderer. Well, Cain, he's lying. He's lying to people, and he's murdering their conscience because they believe in him. They follow in him. So he's the same modus operandi. Yeah, he built a kingdom, just like Lucifer built their kingdom up in heaven. And here's Cain building the kingdom. And look, we got it right here. Right here. It says right here, the city of Enoch. And look, this city of Enoch was the capital of the earth. See, in the antediluvian age, which was a different world altogether than what you may think. See, for one thing, there were giant creatures there. The man himself was a giant. How you think you're going to sit up here, you know, you're going to exist with Tyrannosaurus Rex and a Brontosaurus and you 6 foot tall, you know? You know, it'd be just like that movie. Was that old movie I watched as a kid? Was it 1 Million BC starring Raquel Welch? I saw it at the theater. You know, all these guys are running around, running away from T-Rex. You know, all that kind of stuff. You know, of course, the only reason I went there because the cave women, were scantily clad and all that kind of stuff. So, but at least they got one thing right. That dinosaurs and man did coexist. However, the scientists or the evolutionists will tell you this. No, the man did not coexist with dinosaurs. In fact, the dinosaurs existed millions of years before the man came in the Jurassic Age, with the reptiles. In fact, they'll even go on as far as to say this, the evolutionists. They will tell you that the dinosaurs, it's because people ask, well, what happened to the dinosaurs? And the evolutionists will tell you, well, the dinosaurs evolved into birds. That's what they'll tell you. See, and that the man, the man from an evolutionist point of view will tell you that the man started off as a little bitty midget, like this, and that he grew eventually. We tell you just the opposite, and there's evidence for it because they have found bones of giants, in excess of 15, 20, 30 feet tall. Yeah. Adam was a giant of a man. The reason why I can say that, because it says the bone represents, the bone structure of a man represents pillars, bars, boards in the tabernacle. So the long boards in the tabernacle were like 15 feet long, which would be like the long bones in your legs. So I could say that from my foot up to my torso would be like 15 feet. And I could say from my torso to my head would probably be proportional, another 15 feet. So I could safely say that Adam, more than likely, was probably 30 feet tall. And a 30-foot tall man could pretty much handle a Tyrannosaurus Rex. Right. Probably slap him upside the head and turn him into a guard dog. Okay? And these people weren't stupid either, like you have, like what do you call the Neanderthals, with the clubs, going, No, it wasn't like these people were smart folks. These were educated folks in the sense that they weren't stupid. They knew how to work metal. They knew how to work the crops. They knew how to do things, build cities. They weren't stupid. And I'll tell you something else too. That some people may disagree with. See, back here in the antediluvian age, it was just one landmass. It was not the 7 continents that we know them to be today. See, how do I know that? Well, I can go to the scriptures. Just go to the 3rd day of creation. See, the city of Enoch was the capital of the earth at that time. See?
Genesis 1:9. And Elohim said, let the waters under the heavens be gathered together
Go ahead.
unto one place, and let the dry land appear.
And let
And
the
it
dry
was so.
and let the dry lands.
No, land.
Land, singular.
Singular.
Let the dry land
Appear.
appear. One massive continent. See, and that's what it was. And see, here's another thing. It didn't rain
Right.
during the age. See, it was the dew that gathered up along the. It didn't rain. That's why, you know, when Noah built the ark, you know, at first Noah had some support, but then as time went on, people start questioning and say, well, you know, I don't see nothing yet, you know, because they some of them didn't believe off the bat because they said, I ain't never seen it rain. Water from the sky, I've never seen that before. You know, who ever heard of such a thing? See, but that was. And so this was a different world. One landmass, they were giants, they lived hundreds of years. What else? They were evil. Evil, because they go back to the 6th chapter of Genesis.
Genesis 6 and stop at 4.
Mm-hmm.
There were Nephilims in the earth in those days.
Or in the King James Version, it says they were giants. And that's what they would see. Nephilim, you know, means degenerates, because A.B. Trainer did not believe that they were giants. So I disagreed with him on that. They were giants. He just showed it. He just proved it according to the pattern. They were giants. See, keep going.
And also after that, when the sons of Elohim came in unto the daughters of men, and they bare children to them, the same became mighty men, which were of old, men of renown.
So the sons and daughters of Elohim, see, went in unto the daughters of men, or they married into Cain's lineage, who were ruling, who was ruling the world anyway, so they became men of renown. What do you mean? They just became the rulers, you know, we're running things here, you know, men of renown, keep reading.
And Yahweh saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth,
Uh-huh.
and that every intent of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually.
Read.
And he repented Yahweh that he had made man on the earth, and it grieved him at his heart.
Uh-huh.
And Yahweh said, I will destroy man whom I have created from the face of the earth, both man and beast, and the creeping things, and the birds of the heavens, for it repented me that I have made them. But Noah found grace in the eyes of Yahweh. These are the generations of Noah. Noah was a just man and upright in his generations. And Noah walked with Elohim. And Noah begat 3 sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. The earth also was corrupt before Elohim, and the earth was filled with violence.
That's what I wanted to hear. The earth was filled with violence. What kind of violence? The violence of persecution. Remember, we said that there was going to be enmity between her seed and his seed. See, that's what that was. See, that's why you have this plate here. This is plate 17. This is the birth translation of Enoch. Here we got Enoch here hiding in the cave. See, why? Because it's a persecution. Just draw a line. It's in the court roundabout. Draw a line to the court roundabout on the migratory thing. Wasn't there persecution down here in Egypt? Wasn't there death of the boy babies going on?
Yes.
See, just like when Yaakov fulfilled that, because see, he came along, there was persecution. They were looking for him, and when they couldn't find him, they killed all the boy babies in Bethlehem, right? See, 2 and under.
That's right.
I remember. See, it was 2 and under back here, and it's 2 and under down here, and it's no different. It's no different today. See, in 1933, Adolf Hitler became Chancellor of Germany, and he ruled for 12 years. And he was killing off all the Jews. Why? Because he was looking for that one. See, it wasn't Hitler, it was the satanic, the mystery of iniquity incarnated in him. See, that's the principle. See, and then we know that the vision came in 1931, 2 years before Hitler started. So Hitler was killing off the Jews 2 and under. See, the same thing, it's the same principle. See, but the problem was, he didn't know that the age had changed and the dispensation has changed. The Jew in this age now is spiritual. It's an inward thing. Whereas the satanic was mystery of iniquity, he's still carnal. He's looking at the Jews from a natural standpoint, looking for the natural Jew. See, not knowing that the Jew in this age is now is spiritual. It's in the heart and in the mind. Okay, where we at?
6 in.
Oh, we're still, that's good enough. All right, now, here we have, like I said, this degeneration. We went through that about the woman being made subject to vanity and coming on now. And then here we are, the satanic spirit coming on now. And here we have the city of Enoch, which is the first form of a kind of government. See, Cain and his family were the alpha males of that generation, of that age, actually. You know, like, you step on my foot, I'll kill you, literally. What you gonna do about it? Your family ain't big enough or strong enough to take on my clan. What you say? What? What's gonna say? You know, I mean, you can translate it today, if you want to. Somebody goes, what do you think you want, huh? Fool, idiot, what? You know, that kind of thing. Yeah. It's no different. It's no different. See, and that's what they were. See, and they were evil. So I mean, to the point that the flood had to literally wipe them out, and literally, a new creation came about because, as I said, it was one landmass. Genesis 7:11. See, because when the flood happened,
in the 600th year of Noah's life, in the 2nd month, in the 17th day of the month, the same day, were all the fountains of the great deep broken up.
in other words, the fountains of the deep, they pushed open to the point that it pushed the continents apart. And there's evidence for that. You can look this up in a good geology book that talks about the continental drift, seafloor spreading. The continents are on plates. This is why we have earthquakes and volcanoes, because the plates move and they bump into each other, see. There was a time people didn't believe that. They thought the earth was just static like this. And then there was a guy back in the turn of the 20th century. This was his name. You can look him up. His name was Alfred Wegener. And he came up with the theory of continental drift and seafloor spreading. When he came up with it, they thought he was crazy. It wasn't until after he died that maybe decades later they found the evidence that he really was right. And he even looked at it on the observation, and you can see it yourself. Like when you look on the continents, like you say, like if you look at the continent of South America and you look at the continent of Africa, you could just, if you push them together, it looked like they would fit.
Right.
Because at one time they did. They were all one. See, until it broke up. Now the difference is what we call the difference. The scientists say that this happened hundreds of millions of years ago. I say it happened during the flood with Noah and the ark. See, that's when that happened. See, it doesn't take Yahweh millions of years to push some continents apart. Okay? You understand what I'm saying? But the evidence is there. See, seafloor spreading and all, the evidence is there. And we just read it in the Bible, that the fountains of the deep broke open. See? And that's what pushed all of them apart. Now, this was another scripture. I think it's Genesis 10. I'm thinking 10:13 or somewhere around there, maybe.
10:13. And Mizraim begat Ludim.
No, that's not it. That's not quite it.
It's out of that land. The beginning of his kingdom.
Nimrod was mighty.
10:5, that's what I want. King James Version.
By these were the isles of the Gentiles divided in their lands, every one after his tongue, after their families in their nations.
The isles of what are the isles of the Gentiles? The 7 continents. The earth is 70% water. The continents are just giant islands floating on top, on plates. Those are the isles. See, I just showed 3 witnesses in the Bible to show that the earth was one landmass, and that through the flood they were broken up and into the 7 continents that we have now. See, and see, 101 years after the flood, then you got this happening here. You got the Tower of Babel. And our founder said this was, he called it the first Babylonian Empire. See, that was built by Nimrod. Go back to where you was at. You were close to it, but when you started reading Mizraim with Nimrod. Yeah, I think maybe it's script. Yeah, where it starts about Cush begat Nimrod.
Okay. 8. And Cush begat Nimrod. He began to be a mighty one in the earth.
He began to become a mighty one in the earth. Go ahead.
He was a mighty hunter, opposing Yahweh. Wherefore it is said, even as Nimrod the mighty hunter opposing Yahweh. And the beginning of his kingdom was Babel, and Erech, and Akkad, and Calneh, in the land of Shinar. Out of that land he went to Assyria and builded Nineveh.
He builded Nimrod, not just like Cain. He builded Nineveh, or he built a city without divine specifications and without divine instructions. Okay, now Nimrod was a mighty hunter. Now if you read, I think it's in the 9th chapter of Genesis, maybe we should read that right quick, just to show you why Nimrod was a mighty hunter and what he did with that.
In Genesis chapter 9, and Elohim blessed Noah and his sons and said unto them, be fruitful and multiply and replenish the earth, and the fear of you and the dread of you shall be upon every beast of the earth, and upon every bird of the heavens, upon all that moveth upon the earth, and upon all the fishes of the sea. Into your hand are they delivered.
Okay, now the fear of you and the dread of you is going to be on all these animals. That's why Nimrod was a mighty hunter. Because after the ark settled between the mountains of Ararat, the animals came out first, then the man. The animals, being the territorial creatures that they are, they went out and, multiplied and they staked their claims. And then here comes the man come along, And he stops around and says, this is a nice piece of land property, I think I'll make that my North 40. Built a house over here. And let's see, there's a creek down there. I could build an irrigation ditch from there to the creek, and I could do this. I can build my barn over. He's thinking all this, not knowing that the land was already staked out by maybe some lions or tigers. Your lions or bears or tigers. Oh my. So it could be. So there, it was a situation because people would be out there, might be in the middle of the field plowing, and then all of a sudden you don't know that you're plowing on land that was covered by a bunch of wolves, and they say, well, this, because we just read the fear of you and the dread of you is going to be on all animals. So you invade an animal's territory, he's going to get you. You get an animal backed up in a corner, he's going to get you. You get an animal that you mess with their young, they're going to get you. If there's some extreme circumstances or something like a drought, where food is scarce or something like that, then you start looking good to an animal. And that was a problem in the early days of this post-Diluvian age. So much so that the land cried out for a hero. And that was Nimrod, because he was a mighty hunter. Not to mention that he was a smart man. He came up with a very novel idea. Because we just read he built cities. And he built a city and he came up with a novel concept. I'll build a wall around it. That way it'll protect you from the wild animals. Both the 4-footed ones and the 2-footed ones. Like thieves, robbers, brigands. We'll protect you from them too. But hey, you live in my city, you gotta pay taxes. You gotta pay tribute. My men gotta eat. Got any daughters? They could use some wives. I'll do for you, don't worry. I'll build this wall, I'll protect you. I'll even build roads so you can travel safely on, easy on. I'll have my men patrol the streets. I'll build a center over here where you can, have a marketplace to ply your trade. I'll even bring fresh drinking water. I'll build aqueducts and bring fresh drinking water to the city. I will do this for you, but you gotta pay tribute. You gotta pay taxes. Right here. Human government. Tower of Babel. This is where the concept comes from. And we still live with it today.
Yep.
Because you pay taxes. It don't matter what level you are. Like if it's a city tax, you pay taxes to the city. And what do they provide? In the return, the city provides services. Health and human services, police protection, police fire department, streets and sanitation, public utilities. They supply the services that we pay taxes on. How did that come about? Why, that got started with Nimrod. See? And he's on this chart. Part of this chart. These kingdoms. Satan, this serpent. This is Satan. This is him setting up. And what is that really talking about? When we talk about human government. Because see, the word government, to govern. See, to govern, how does one govern one's behavior? See? Look, we read in Isaiah, Lucifer said, I would be like the Most High. Well, the Most High is the law of the Spirit of life.
Right.
Well, he said he's going to be like that. Well, the law of the Spirit of life is what governs your behavior. So, well, here he is. I'm gonna be like the Most High. I'm gonna create this human government and govern your behavior. I will be like the Most High. That's what that's about. Him creating human government is Satan imitating the law of the Spirit of life or the Holy Spirit. It's a lie that the whole world buys.
Right.
It's a lie that he sells that the whole world buys. Human government. Oh, let's try democracy. Let's try a republic. Let's try a monarchy. Let's try a parliamentary system. Oh hell, why don't we just have a straight out dictatorship? Anything, something, trying to find the perfect form of rules and regulations that will govern behavior between human beings. Why? Because hey, back here, I told you about Cain and all of them, and it got to the point even people figured out that you got to have some sort of rules. Like for example, let's say I had a cow, and you come along for whatever reason, you accidentally killed my cow or something. And I'm like, hey man, you killed my cow. What are you gonna do, man? I need restitution. Now you can either be one thing. Now you can do one or the other. You can say, oh man, I'm sorry. Here, man. Look, let me try to pay you back. I either pay you for it, or maybe I'll do some work for you to work it off. Or you could just be the opposite. Well, this cow shouldn't have been in my way, man. Screw you. I ain't giving you a damn thing. What you gonna do about it? How you gonna make me? How you gonna make me? See? Then what are you gonna do? See? That's why governments had to come up, because people had to say, well, what are we going to do about this? So then that's when they came up with rules and laws. Talking about, well, we got to have rules of behavior. Rules and what's the word? Deterrence. When somebody do bad behavior. To try to make people, behave correctly. Don't do this or this will happen.
Right.
See, that kind of thing.
Right.
See? Whereas if you were really conscious of the law of the Spirit in you, then you kill somebody's cow. You say, "Oh man, look, man, I am really sorry. Look, I will." You wouldn't even have to, trip. You would just say, "Look, let me make this up. I'll get you another cow. I'll pay you. I'll work it off. Your family, look, you need some milk. Look, I got extra milk. I'll give you some milk." You would just feel naturally toward that instead of having something or compelling agent to compel you to do right.
Right.
See, that's the point. See, that's what human government is. That's the failing of it. Because human government is based upon the human mind.
Right.
And the human mind is changeable. It's flawed. It's temporal. It's moralistic. So therefore, human government is going to be a reflection of that. And it's not going to be perfect. Because the human mind is not perfect. It's subject to change. Either for better or for worse. So you're not going to get that. See, that's why Dr. Kinley tried to explain this. That it's got to be through the law of the Spirit. By which true behavior can be governed. This can, only to a certain extent, but truly, even there are some folks that are listed as incorrigible. That no matter what you try to do, they ain't changing. And there are certain people that are in prison now that they'll never let out because they know they're incorrigible. They're just not going to change. They'll be there till the day they die. See? But this is the point I'm making. See, this is one of these kingdoms. And these are all different attempts at governing. This is the first Babylonian Empire.
Right.
And then we got Nebuchadnezzar. Let's get Daniel 2:31. And see, now these are universal dynasties that are listed here. There are more kingdoms that have existed in the earth. But these are the main ones. Particularly, these kingdoms here are the kingdoms that lead directly to what we call Western civilization or the Western tradition. When we talk about the Western tradition and you want to trace the history of it back, you have to go back through these kingdoms.
Right.
Because it makes up part of it. And that also includes the Jews. Because some of the traditions that we have in Western society is based on what is called, unquote, the Judeo-Christian tradition. Okay?
Daniel 2:31. Thou, O king, sawest, and behold, a great image.
Now, Daniel, he's interpreting this dream from Nebuchadnezzar that he had. See, Nebuchadnezzar couldn't even remember the dream off the bat. In fact, he threatened his psychic friends' networks that if they couldn't interpret it for him, he was going to kill them, and their families. And so they had to appeal out of desperation. They appealed to Daniel.
Right.
Daniel, in turn, implored Yahweh to show him what it was that Nebuchadnezzar saw. So when Daniel approaches Nebuchadnezzar, like I said, he couldn't remember the dream himself. So then when Daniel begins, and this is Daniel speaking, so when he begins to explain the dream to Nebuchadnezzar, see what it is, it's the Holy Spirit in Daniel that's bringing it back to Nebuchadnezzar's remembrance, as Daniel is speaking. Okay, continue.
This great image, whose brightness was excellent, stood before thee, and the form thereof was terrible. This image's head was of fine gold, his breast and his arms of silver, his belly and his thighs of brass, his legs of iron, his feet part of iron and part of clay. Thou sawest till that a stone was cut out without hands, which smote the image upon his feet that were of iron and clay, and brake them to pieces. Then was the iron, the clay, the brass, the silver, and the gold broken to pieces together, and became like the chaff of the summer threshing floors. And the wind carried them away, that no place was found for them. And the stone that smote them, then the stone that smote the image became a great mountain and filled the whole earth. This is the dream, and we will tell the interpretation thereof before the king. Thou, O king, art a king of kings, for the Elohim of heaven hath given thee a kingdom, power, and strength, and glory. And wheresoever the children of men dwell, the beasts of the field and the fowls of heaven hath he given unto thine hand, and has made thee ruler over them all. Thou art this head of gold. And after thee shall arise another kingdom, inferior to thee, and another third kingdom of brass, which shall bear rule over all the earth. And the fourth kingdom shall be strong as iron, forasmuch as iron breaketh in pieces, and subdueth all things. And as iron that breaketh all these, shall it break in pieces and bruise. And whereas thou sawest the feet and toes, part of potter's clay, and part of iron, the kingdom shall be divided, but there shall be in it of the strength of the iron, forasmuch as thou sawest the iron mixed with miry clay. And as the toes of the beast are part of iron and part of clay, so the kingdom shall be partly strong and partly broken. And whereas thou sawest iron mixed with miry clay, they shall mingle themselves with the seed of men, but they shall not cleave one to another, even as iron is not mixed with clay. And in the days of these kings shall the Elohim of heaven set up a kingdom which shall never be destroyed. And the kingdom shall not be left to other people, but it shall break in pieces and consume all these kingdoms, and it shall stand forever. For as much as thou sawest that the stone was cut out of the mountain without hands, and that it brake in pieces the iron, the brass, the clay, the silver, and the gold, the great El hath made known to the king what shall come to pass hereafter, and the dream is certain, and the interpretation thereof sure.
Okay, that's good enough. Now, these are representing the universal dynasties that Yahweh has shown Nebuchadnezzar, which Daniel interpreted, according by the Spirit, which is superimposed on here. Now, Nebuchadnezzar's Babylon represents the second Babylonian Empire. All right, then followed by the Medes and the Persians, followed by Alexander the Great, followed by the Roman Empire, pagan Rome, then followed by the papacy. These beasts up here correlate with that. I think it's the 5th chapter of Daniel, or the 7th chapter of 1, because
It depends on which one you are.
yeah, 5th chapter. Is the 5th in the holy place, holy name, and 7th in the King James?
Yeah.
What does it say?
It said the first year of Belshazzar, king of Babylon,
Yes.
Daniel had a dream and visions of his head upon his bed. Then he wrote the dream and told the sum of the matters. Daniel spake and said, I saw in my visions by night, and behold, the four winds of the heavens strove upon the great sea. And the four great beasts came up from the sea, diverse one from another. The first like a lion, and had eagle's wings. I beheld till the wings thereof were plucked, and it was lifted up from the earth, and made stand upon the feet of a man. And a man's heart was given to it.
Okay, now we have these beasts illustrated up here. Now if you look, this beast here in their position, this beast here is the same allegorically as this head of gold that we just read about. The beast points to Nebuchadnezzar and Babylon, Nebuchadnezzar's Babylon. See right here. Okay, continue.
And behold, another beast, a second like to a bear. And it raised up itself on one side. And it had 3 ribs in the mouth of it, between the teeth of it. And they said thus unto it, Arise, devour much flesh. After this I beheld.
Now hold on. Now here's the bear here. Now that is, in this position, it's the same as the Medes and the Persians. See, like that. That's what that's pointing to. See, the Medes and the Persians, if you notice, there were 2 kingdoms and it's on 2 arms. They were 2 kingdoms that worked as one.
Right.
See, you could say like a boxer. You know, a good boxer, he's got a 1-2 punch. The Medes was the ultimate 1-2 punch.
Yeah.
Medes, Persians. And listen, these 2 kingdoms still exist today. The Persians, we know them today as Iranians, Iran. I know, I live in West LA, and there's a large, they call themselves Persians. They still call themselves Persians.
Yeah, they do.
You know, in fact, my doctor is a Persian doctor. In fact, he's a Persian Jew. On top of that. But they're the Iranians. The Medes, they still exist today too, but they're not called the Medes. Today they're known as the Kurds.
Yep.
If you ever know the Kurds. The Kurds are, and if you ever check out the Kurds are located all over the Middle East. They're located in Iran, Iraq, Syria, Turkey. You know, they're widespread, and most people in that area hate them because they remember them as the Medes. They remember them. In fact, the Kurds want their own country, and everybody else is saying, no, don't do that, don't do that. Why? They remember the last time they had a country. They remember. See. And they said, no, don't do that. Don't give these folks a country. Because see, American memory is only like 230 years, you know. Their memory is like 2,300 years, you know.
Yeah.
See, they have long memories over there in the Middle East. See, and they remember them. They remember the Kurds as the Medes. They remember them. They said, no, we remember you guys were ruling. You guys were y'all were rough. We don't want to see y'all, you know, in the driver's seat no more. Okay, But yeah, so the Persian Empire and see, Dr. Ken used to talk about it because he used to talk about Cyrus, Darius, and Artaxerxes.
Right.
See, those are the 3 main Persian kings that you need to know about. See, Cyrus was the one who released the Jews from captivity. Darius was the one that reconfirmed the order of Cyrus to rebuild the temple unto Zerubbabel, and Artaxerxes was the one that gave the order to Nehemiah to go and rebuild the wall of Jerusalem that had been torn down by Nebuchadnezzar. See, he tore down the city, he burnt the city and the temple of Solomon. Talking about Nebuchadnezzar of Babylon. Yep. See, he came in there, we don't have time, but you can read about it, you know, he came in there, the king of Judah, Jehoiakim, was his boy for 3 years, you know. He said, Nebuchadnezzar come walking in, talking like, yeah, we taking over this place, you know, you can still stay on the throne, you know, I mean, but you work for me now. See, you are now part of the Greater Babylonian Prosperity Corporation. Okay, and so and Jehoiakim, who was the king at that time, he had, you know, he was okay for 3 years, and then after a while, because of the taxes he was paying Nebuchadnezzar, he was like saying, "Man, I can't even throw a decent party. I'm paying so much taxes." And then it's just 1 year, he just said, "I ain't paying no more." And so back at Babylon, they doing the tally because they getting, you know, they getting their receipts from all over, you know, okay, you know. Saudi Arabia, okay, Iran, Greece, Judah. We're sorry, but Judah says they ain't paying this year. What? I said, what, these Jews? I said, what? Oh no, see now I gotta go and see, I gotta get up and, I gotta go down here and regulate now, you know what I'm saying? You know, really, that's exactly what it is. I said, man, I mean, hey, you folks made me, I gotta come down, I gotta get off my throne and come down into this little Judea here to see about my money. That's it. It ain't no different. It ain't no different today. See, it's the same. It really is. And so, but then, okay, so you got Nebuchadnezzar, then the Medes and Persians took over. Keep reading, I'm sorry.
6. After this I beheld, and lo, another like a leopard, which had upon the back of it 4 wings on fire. The beast had also 4 heads, and dominion was given to it. After this I saw...
Now hold it. Now this is representative of Alexander the Great, or the Greeks here. Alexander the Great came through and conquered. Now when he died, he had no successor to leave his empire to. So his empire was divided up amongst his 4 generals.
Right.
See? And that's and one of them was a man named Ptolemy. And see, he started the Ptolemaic Egyptian empire, see, from which Cleopatra came out of. And see, and I get into big arguments with people about this, because people want to tell me Cleopatra was black. No, she was not. And she was not black. She was Greek. Why? Because she, and this is something that people don't take into consideration, because they're going to try to say, well, maybe some black person got, that didn't happen, and here's the reason why. If you know anything about religions of Egypt and about the pharaohs, one thing the pharaohs used to do was simply this, because they felt they were gods. So they didn't want to dilute their blood with some common folk and nothing like that. So who did they marry? They married their sisters. They married their relatives. And that's what happened with Cleopatra. Cleopatra, in fact, her real title is Cleopatra the 7th. She's the 7th Cleopatra in a long line of 150 years from the Ptolemy line. And see, and she was a descendant of incest. Because Ptolemy, talking about the Greek general Ptolemy, married his sister. And they began to have children, and the children married within each other. They kept it in the line. In other words, Cleopatra was a product of inbreeding. Now you want to say she's black now? And they even found a coin minted during the time of the Romans, because see, Cleopatra was married to Julius Caesar, and she had a son by him. And the Romans hated her. They hated her. And they minted a coin. Caesar had a coin minted in her honor, and they looked, and I mean, they found a coin with her image on it, and she didn't look black to me. She didn't look black. In fact, she looked kind of ugly to me. But hey, what do I know? When you're a queen and you got power, oh, that's the most beautiful person in the world. It's almost like, like the old joke. You see some black guy come in, some ugly black guy, and they say, oh man, I don't want to talk to him. And then you find out he's an NBA star with a multi-million-dollar contract. Then you're like, oh, party over here, party over here. Now all of a sudden he looks good. He look good now. But before he was like, oh man, I don't want no roughneck, like that thing. See? Okay, but that's what happened. The 4 generals, they took over, and you can really get into the other stuff. I mean, there's some really history about, because a lot of people don't get into the history between the book of Malachi and the book of Matthew. There's like 400 years there. It's called the intertestamental period of things that happen that really determine certain things that do happen when Yahshua physically comes onto the scene, walking around with the Jews, but we don't have time for that now. But continue reading. 7.
After this I saw the night visions, and behold, a 4th beast, dreadful and terrible, and strong exceedingly. And it had great iron teeth. It devoured and brake in pieces, and stamped the residue of the feet of it. And it was diverse from all the beasts that were before it. And it had 10 horns.
That's 10 horns.
I considered the horns, and behold, there came up among them another little horn, before whom there were 3 of the first horns, plucked up by the roots. And behold, in this horn were eyes like the eyes of a man, and a mouth speaking great things. I held till the thrones were cast down, and the Ancient of Days did sit, whose garment was white as snow, and the hair of his head like the pure wool. His throne was like the fiery flame, and his wheels is burning fire.
Okay, that's good enough, because that's talking about, that be compared to that rock here cut out of the mountain without hands, shattering this image. So now, Daniel received this vision, and he received this vision 49 years after Nebuchadnezzar received his.
49, okay.
Daniel's vision is a confirmation vision of Nebuchadnezzar's vision, as we just went through. Okay? Now, we done went through the law, and it shows you how Satan come down, the war in heaven coming down here, and city of Enoch, and Tower of Babel, and coming down through these different empires. Now let's go back to the scripture lesson. And then now we can we're getting close to our conclusion, because we started off with the scripture lesson, I think maybe around 17 and 4, or maybe 5 perhaps.
And upon her forehead a name written, Mystery Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots and abominations of the earth. And I saw the woman drunken with the blood of the sons, and with the blood of the martyrs of Yahshua. And when I saw her, I wondered with great astonishment. And the angel said unto me, Wherefore art thou astonished? I will tell thee the mystery of the woman, and of the beast that carrieth her, which hath the 7 heads and 10 horns. The beast that thou sawest was and is not, and shall ascend out of the abyss, and go into perdition. And they that dwell on the earth shall wonder, whose names were not written in the book of life from the foundation of the world, when they behold the beast that was and is not and yet is. And here is the mind which hath wisdom.
Here's the mind that has wisdom. Read.
The 7 heads are 7 mountains.
The 7 mountains, and a mountain in biblical typology represents a kingdom. Read.
On which the woman sitteth. And there are 7 kingdoms. 5 are fallen.
Now hold it right there. Here's John. He's on the Isle of Patmos. He's the one receiving this vision up here in AD 96. Now let's get this carefully. He's receiving this. This is AD 96. So in AD 96, 5 of these kingdoms have already fallen. Let's count them up here. 1, city of Enoch. 2, Tower of Babel. 3, Nebuchadnezzar's Babylon. 4, Medes and the Persian. 5, the Greeks. In AD 96, these 5 kingdoms are kaput. They are no more. Read.
5 are fallen, and 1 is.
Now the 1 is that exists in AD 96 is pagan Rome of the Caesars. In fact, that's how John got out here. It is right here, Patmos, the Isle of Patmos here. And listen, the Isle of Patmos was not Paradise Island. No. It was a rock. In fact, it was a prison. Yeah. It was the Romans who imprisoned John there on that. I mean, they put him there on that island, which was really a prison because he couldn't get up. Okay, who was it? I believe it was the Emperor Trajan that put John out here on the Isle of Patmos. So when he says that 1 is, that's the Roman Empire that exists in AD 96. Continue.
And the other is not yet come.
Now the Roman Empire, now the Holy Roman or the papacy in AD 96 had not yet come. Right. But read.
And when it cometh.
But when it do come.
It must continue a short space.
It must continue a short space. And it did. Until 1960. That's when our founder published his textbook in 61. Because when he did that, that was the end. And it triggered Vatican Council II, which changed the old order of the Catholic Church into what it is today. Yeah. What they're doing today is nothing like what it was prior to 1960, because they had power, but long before that, they could, make people kings and queens and emperors. They could do that. They could put Mary into heaven, make Gabriel the head of the telephone service. They had power then. Now you don't hear him doing stuff like that no more. In fact, Dr. Kinley said this after he published his textbook. He said the Roman Catholic Church has fallen flatter than a fritter. So that was the end of the old order after 1960, but read.
And the beast that was and is not, even he is the 8th head and is of the 7th.
Now, since that time, we have been living in the 8th satanic kingdom. What does that mean? It simply means that what we're living in is a conglomeration of the previous 7.
Right.
Everything that has happened in the previous 7 kingdoms, the accomplishments, the all that other stuff, behaviors, and everything, is now prevalent, is now made manifested now. The city of Enoch was the city that ruled the earth at one time. The earth now is being ruled by one city. The whole earth now is the city of Babylon.
Yep.
That's the one city. See, everything that you see is drawn from. I used to watch the History Channel, still do, and I remember somebody said something of a quote. He said there's no such thing as new inventions. There's just really new innovations of old ideas. See, just to give you an idea, we'll sit up here and we'll talk about, guys will talk about a car. They say, we'll sit up and, bring a car. Oh, man, it's a nice car, man. Let's see what's under the hood. Pop the hood and look at the engine. Let's rev it up, man. So, what kind of horsepower does it have? Why do you say that? Well, see, a car ain't nothing but a modern-day chariot. That's all it is. It's just a chariot. I mean, you just made it into a mechanical, but it's a chariot. They had chariots. We got chariots today. It's no different. See, and the things that they did back then, we do. I mean, look, you could go back and everything that we do is drawn from these great empires, these universal dynasties. We live in a democracy. Well, where did that come from? Didn't that come from the Greeks? See, we talk about, we got to, elect people to the Senate. Well, where did we get the concept of the Senate from? The Romans. See, everything you stop and think and you trace the history, you're going to trace it back to one of these empires that we've drawn from. And see, would you believe that a battery was invented by the Egyptians? Yeah. They had batteries thousands of years ago. They didn't do the things that we do with it now. Because along the way, somebody looked at it and said, hey, I think I could do something. Take this and apply it to this over here or that, And then people find different combinations and integrations of things. But it's really nothing new. See? And people say, well, we flying now. Believe it or not, people flew back then. Now, somebody might think me crazy, because I did tell you that back here in the antediluvian age, man and dinosaurs coexisted. Now, I'll sit up here and talk about like that cartoon, the Flintstones. Yeah. Because I'll admit it's a bit exaggerated, but it's really not that far from the truth. Because in the Flintstones, see, the man is the master. And those animals, they make the animals do. Wilma Flintstone, she'll reach out and grab an elephant's trunk and, squirt some water in the sink, They make the animals. Or they want to go somewhere, they be flying on pterodactyl airlines. Now, it's a bit exaggerated, but hey, it's not far-fetched that man, would harness these. And, we domesticate creatures today. Why wouldn't they domesticate these creatures back then? You see my point? Right. See? So, people say, fly. Well, they flew back then. And even then, and you can find, even writings of the Chinese people back thousands of years ago, where they, because they were the ones that were dealing with kites, and they would put people on kites to fly them, or gliders, hang gliders, and stuff like that. The the Nazca people of Peru, like those lines in the sand, those figures of the lines, people trying to figure out, how did these people do that? Why did they do that? But see, this one lady had a very interesting theory. She said that these Nazca people had a way that they figured out they could create balloons. So that they was able to rise up, out of the fabric they had and just smoke, fire, so they create a balloon that they could lift them up temporarily, just high enough, temporarily, so they could see below to see how to make these big lines. So there's nothing new under the sun. Solomon said that. There's truly nothing new under the sun. Okay? Keep reading over there.
Revelation 17 and 11. And the beast that was and is not, even he is the 8th head, and is of the 7th, and goeth into perdition.
See, everything's a combination of everything. Now, everything you see today is just a combination of what was brought up today. brought it back then, being applied today. All these things. Keep going.
And the 10 horns which thou sawest are 10 kings, which have received no kingdom as yet.
Now these 10 horns, now remember we read in the other scriptures about the 10 horns back here. Nebuchadnezzar's image has 10 toes. See, look, from a natural standpoint, your toes, see, makes you stand up. It gives you your balance.
Okay.
See, your toes support you, this body. These 10 toes, or these 10, they support the mystery of iniquity. They support the satanic spirit in operation on the earth plane. These 10 kingdoms. And we're going to find out who they are in a minute, quickly.
And the 10 horns which thou sawest are 10 kings, which have received no kingdom as yet, but receive power as kings 1 hour with the beast.
1 hour with the beast.
These have one mind, and shall give their power and strength unto the beast. These shall make war with the Lamb, and the Lamb shall overcome them. For he is the mighty ruler of kings, and they that are with him are called and chosen and faithful.
Okay.
And he said unto me, the waters which thou sawest, where the whore sitteth, are peoples, and multitudes, and nations, and tongues. And the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn with fire.
Now why is they saying
with
that?
fire.
Because John is confirming what Joshua said. He's confirming what Joshua said back here. He said Satan's kingdom is divided against itself. So John is confirming what Joshua is saying here. Now these kingdoms here, I'm putting them up here on the board. Okay, these are the kingdoms that make up society when you stop and think about it. See, transportation, I got transportation here. Okay, now that's a bit much here. Now, these are the 10 kingdoms that make up society. Agriculture, medical, mercantile, that's the money. Entertainment, like sports, movies, entertainment, there's the science, technology. Education, like schools, religions, the media, heavy industries, like manufacturing, stuff like that. Transportation, cars, planes, buses, military, political. This is what makes up society. This is the 10 toes that prop up the beast or society. See, it's based on this. And look, he said there were kings and queens. These are kingdoms. If they're kingdoms, then you have to have rulers in these kingdoms. Kings and queens of them. The kings and queens of these kingdoms are the corporations. See, the corporations, see that, look, I was telling somebody like Pfizer. Pfizer is a drug company. Pfizer is a corporation. And a corporation is a person in this country. Pfizer is a king in the medical kingdom.
Yes, it is.
See, you got all, the NFL is a person. It's a corporation. Mitt Romney said it best when he was running for president. He said, corporations are people, my friend. They are. The NFL is a corporation. The NFL is a king in the sports kingdom.
Yeah.
You know, the NBA. Do you see the point I'm making?
Monsanto.
Donald Trump is a corporation. Trump is a king in the real estate kingdom. He's a king. And not only that, these corporations are giants. Just like we read in the scriptures that they were giants. They're the giants in this age.
Yeah.
See? They're the giants. And they run these, this is what props up the mystery of iniquity. These, in conjunction with it, all of this. See, keep reading.
And the 16. And the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh, and burn her with fire.
That's what, see, Yahshua, because remember, Yahshua says Satan's kingdom is divided against itself. See, so that's why he said there'll be wars and rumors, because they'll be fighting each other. But when it comes to the true Yahshuans, or the true people of Yahweh, they'll stop fighting and say, oh, wait a minute. Hey, wait a minute. Look, you and I may have some differences, but we need to get them folks out. We need to get these folks out the way.
Yeah.
Okay? Continue.
For Yahweh hath put in their hearts to fulfill his will, and to agree, and give their kingdom unto the beast, until the words of Yahweh shall be fulfilled. And the woman which thou sawest is that great city, which reigneth over the kings of the earth.
Okay, I want you to get Revelations 18 and 9, and somebody else before she reads that get. Isaiah 27 and 1. And I'm almost finished.
Revelation 18:9.
You want to get down?
Nah, he told me. I got that. He wants somebody to get Isaiah. What was it?
27 and 1.
Isaiah 27 and 1. In that day Yahweh, with his sore and great and strong sword, shall punish Leviathan, the piercing serpent, even Leviathan, that crooked serpent.
That crooked serpent, Leviathan is a sea creature.
Yeah.
Okay, read.
And he shall slay the dragon that is in the sea. In that day sing ye unto her a vineyard of red wine.
Red wine. Remember we read in Revelation. See, John is confirming what's being written. So you have to keep that in mind. He's got to confirm the law and the prophets. See, the only way you're going to understand Revelations is not by some grand speculation or something. You have to go back into the law and the prophets to get your witnesses. To show and confirm what John is talking. Because John is confirming not only what Moses is writing, but he's also confirming what Isaiah is writing. Go ahead.
I, Yahweh, do keep it. I will water it every moment, lest any hurt it. I will keep it night and day. Fury is not in me. Who would set the briars and thorns against me in battle? I would go through them. I would burn them together. If he will take hold of my strength, that he may make peace with me, he shall make peace with me. In the generations that
That's
come.
good enough. That's good enough. Now go right
Revelation 18 and 9.
Now listen, because she's going to read this, and what she's going to read, look, you can find a category for it up here somewhere. All right, continue.
And the kings of the earth who have committed fornication and lived deliciously with her shall bewail her and lament for her, when they shall see the smoke of her burning, standing afar off for the fear of her torment, saying, Alas, alas, that great city Babylon, that mighty city, for in 1 hour is thy judgment come. And the merchants of the earth shall weep and mourn over her, for no man buyeth their merchandise anymore. The merchandise of gold and silver and precious stones and pearls and fine linen and purple and silk and scarlet and dyed wood and all manner vessels of ivory and all manner vessels of most precious wood and of brass and iron and marble and cinnamon and odors and ointments and frankincense and wine and oil and fine flour and wheat and beasts and sheep and horses and chariots and slaves and souls of men.
Whoa. Souls of men. Whoa. You mean to tell me you're a commodity too?
Yes.
To be bought, sold, bartered, paid for? You're a commodity too. To be traded for. See, all of that. We read that in Ezekiel. It said, by the multitude of thy traffic. Of thy traffic. They traffic in everything. Traffic in everything. We got, like a supermarket, whatever, we got what you want. We ain't got what you need, but we do got what you want. All right, one more scripture and I'm done. Philippians 3 and 20. Because see, I know I went through all this, but now we got to get the good thing in here. Because see, that's just showing you, what we're up against. But this is what we have in the reality. See.
Philippians 3 and 20. For our citizenship is in heaven.
Now that's where our true citizenship is. Not with the United States American government or any other government under any other flag. This is our true citizenship. Read.
From whence also we are expecting our Savior King, Yahshua the Messiah, who shall change our vile body, that it may be fashioned like unto his glorious body, according to the working whereby he is able even to subdue all things unto himself.
Because prior to that, we created ourselves in the image and likeness of the world. See, we always say these charts take your picture, which is due. But I always say this, which chart really takes your picture when you come in here? This is the one. Because this is what you were of the world. Until we start preaching the gospel to you, which is that rock cut out of the mountains without hand to shatter these images. See, that you created of yourself, these concepts.
Right.
See, because Yahweh said, I change not. But the human mind is subject to change. And the human mind and human government is a product of the human mind. So therefore, if human mind is subject to change, so is human government. For better or for worse. See, and in most cases, it's usually for worse. Because there's no government, human, engineered, that can make a person behave or govern properly. That can only be done by becoming conscious of the law of the Spirit of life within you, who is Yahshua, the resurrected Yahshua Messiah, who is Yahweh Elohim, the archetype, original pattern of the universe. And with those few words, thank you very much.
Hallelujah.
Yes.
This concludes our class session for tonight. Let us stand for our doxology. Our doxology is taken from Jude, verse 24, 25. Now unto him that's able to keep you from falling and present you faultless before the presence of his glory with exceeding joy. To the only wise Elohim, our Savior, be glory and majesty, dominion and power, both before all time and now and ever. Let us all say, Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.